Good morning and welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. My name's Diane Alcorn and I am the Membership and Engagement Coordinator here. If this is your first time visiting with us, welcome. We're glad you took the time to join us here. If you'd like more information about our church and our worship community, please feel free and send me an email. In the meantime, again, welcome. We're so glad you took the time to join us.
Good morning. Welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church, a spiritual community whose hope is audacious and whose vision is for a more equitable and just world for all. I'm Elizabeth Gerenser, Worship Associate of this amazing community, and joining me are Dave Blazer, Music Director, as well as Christine Salante, Michael Hockman, Bob Beamer, and Danny Dunchuk, who are our wonderful tech folks making this live stream possible. A special welcome to our guest speaker this morning, Reverend Shirley A. Nelson. Reverend Shirley is a Cleveland area certified interspiritual compassionate counselor and life skills coach, and founder of Sand Sacred Circle, which offers retreats and workshops. For more than 30 years, she has lived an engaged spiritual life through mindfulness and compassion as a speaker, facilitator, writer, and workshop and retreat leader. Reverend Shirley offers Inner Essence Serenity sessions to individuals to explore their spiritual journey with the intention to raise their consciousness and deepen their understanding of self and others. She is a recent graduate of One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York, New York, where she was ordained as an interfaith, interspiritual minister. Her website is shirleyanelson.com. A warm West Shore welcome to you, Reverend Shirley. Together, we are pleased to invite you into this space, which is connecting people in Cleveland and beyond to our welcoming community. Often the world is not so welcoming. Often the values of the world are neither loving nor just. So may this worship hour be one where our souls are fed by a wisdom and a passion that remind us that life doesn't have to be that way, that there exists a larger love in every human heart, urging us on to what is better. Let this larger love move in our midst today, and may we be changed by it. A special welcome to you if you're a newcomer to our community. Gay or straight, cisgender or transgender, whatever your race or ethnicity, you are welcome. Our West Shore regulars would love to greet you, and will do that if you indicate on the Facebook chat that you are new or relatively new. If you happen to have any questions and would like to chat with a live person, West Shore's Member and Engagement Coordinator, Diane Alcorn, would love to reach out. Diane's email address is being added to your Facebook chat as we speak. Once again, welcome to this new day. Every week we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It is a beautiful reminder that no matter how many jarring events might happen over the course of the week, the gathered community that is West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church is a source of stability and meaning we can depend on. Please say with me our words originally inspired by Maya Angelou. This is our chalice. In many separate rooms, we light one flame, flame of passion, flame of compassion, flame of humor, flame of style. We do not accept merely surviving. Let our mission be to thrive. Together in spirit, we are one. Let us witness to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio suyo, este nuestro magnífico convenio, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y darnos los unos a los otros. So may it be. And now we turn to our time of greeting. We greet each other in the midst of our joys and struggles, some of which are personal, but others of which are public. Remember to read our community's main source of information about joys and concerns, which is the Friday weekly e-newsletter, which is sent directly to your email box. Let each of us now say the names of people whom we are holding in our personal thoughts and prayers this morning. People in the West Shore community and beyond. Wherever you happen to be, say these names out loud in the space of your room, as if the act of just saying the name is like a prayer, which it is. You may even type the name into our West Shore Facebook chat if you like. I will pause for a moment as we do this. This has been our greeting time, when we are called out of the ordinary world of our daily life and into a special time of renewal and vitality and remembering who we really are. Our first hymn is number 95, There is More Love Somewhere.
Keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Recently, I had a fall and sprained both of my feet. Though the pain was not unbearable, it was definitely uncomfortable. I was feeling sorry for myself when I began to think about how my brother-in-law Blackie had gone through extensive rehab after an accident in which he broke pretty much every bone in his body. This reminder made my suffering pale in comparison, and I decided to be motivated by Blackie's accomplishments in this area of life to further my own rehab, as well as my compassion for others, instead of feeling sorry for myself and being upset. I also realized that I am usually not in pain at all. This realization moved my focus from pain to gratitude, which brought me peace. When I was preparing for this service with Reverend Shirley, I initially was going to share about how I reach a state of peace through my art, practicing gratitude, and talking about any problems I might have with my therapist or supportive friends and family. After my accident, I realized that the moments I'm in pain, whether physical or mental, can be turned around to help me focus with gratitude on the many days when I experience little or no physical pain, mental pain, and am at peace. This normal state of peace is a blessing I received as a UU. When I was a born-again Christian, I often experienced negative and fearful thoughts going through my mind. The church I was brought up in was always focused on sin and the rapture, a supposed event in the future when Jesus returns to the earth from heaven and all believers are transported into the sky and taken to heaven. My old church taught that if an individual had unconfessed sin on their conscience when the rapture occurred, they would be left behind and experience the horror of the world being overtaken by the Antichrist, as described in the Bible's book of Revelation. This fear-based teaching was a very heavy burden to bear as a child and as an adult. As a UU, I have learned that if there is a God, they are good and love all mankind. This loving belief has brought me much peace. Choosing to not worry about the future and instead live in the moment has given me a peaceful mind and heart, and that peace feels wonderful. Unless I choose to worry about something, I find I am automatically at peace. Today, fear is not hanging over my head and crowding out my peaceful thoughts. Whatever your background, whatever you have experienced in your life that has come between you and peace, know that you too have control over your own thoughts and beliefs, and peace is there for the taking. As I just shared in my reflection, I would not be experiencing the kind of peace I feel in my heart today if West Shore did not exist. Each one of us has an effect on the lives of others in our congregation. As we practice our 7 principles, we spread peace throughout our community and the world. Think of how you benefit from this church community, and then reach into your wallet and pull out your checkbook or credit card and make a gift to West Shore that reflects the gratitude and peace in your heart today as you are able. You can text a gift to West Shore. The information for text giving is being shown on your screen. Please be generous as you are able, and thank you for your generosity. Our offertory anthem, played by David Blazer, is Peace by George Winston.
Thank you, David. Good morning. I now invite you into our time of meditation. And we'll start with a few centering breaths. And if you choose to, you may lower your eyes or close your eyes. And simply breathe in several times at your own pace. And allow this breath to take you into your heart, to drop into that heart space. And as you become quiet, send your prayers and your thoughts to those who are fleeing from the wildfires, those people who are having to leave their homes at a moment's notice. Send some love to those in Afghanistan who are fighting for their lives. And simply just breathe. Come into this place, which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hope. Settle into this place by taking several deep breaths. Focus on your breath. The breath flows in through your nose. Encourage each natural out-breath to diminish any tension you may be feeling. No force, no strain. Simply allow yourself to rest back and be carried on the gentle rhythm of the breath. Cultivate loving energy for yourself to nurture what is true for you. Take a deep breath to release any discomfort in your body. Begin checking in to what is true for you without judgment and without trying to change anything. Continue focusing on your breath. Each breath is a breath of peace. Each breath is a reminder that there are many who can no longer breathe. Each breath affirms your place in this world. Each breath opens your heart to healing, joy, and new possibilities. Change is coming, and more peace will enter into your heart. A new light is coming into the world. The new light will create new patterns, patterns born out of love for the healing of body, mind, and spirit of everyone on this planet, and for the healing of Mother Earth. The light begins within you and me. We are the light of the world. The transformation and healing of the outer world begins within. Your breath moves deep and strong into the broken winds of life, quieting the mind and listening to the heart. Every breath you take is a step toward justice for racial, ethnic, gender, disability, and economic equality. Every breath brings you closer to a seat at the table, to voice your concerns, and to stand for those who have no voice. Every breath reminds you that there is no difference between your breath and the rainforest, and that the rhythm in the river flows inside of you too. Every breath reveals glimmers of the holy and gives you hope, while the great soul of the universe fills you with its breath. Before the dawn came the darkness, and the people learned to fear. You have the power to choose love instead of fear, and to be a bridge instead of a stumbling block. Change is coming, and more peace will enter into your heart. A new light is coming into the world. Move deeper now into that place in the very center of your being where there is light, a source of radiance, a presence of healing energy that lives in your heart and is ever shining. Let yourself see and feel that center of perfect light, like a sun shining in your heart. This is the presence of love, and it is ever within you. It is this presence in you that blesses, that heals, and that transforms all suffering and all darkness into light. Let yourself feel how, with each breath, the radiance in your heart glows brighter and stronger, and you become more certain than ever of who you really are. Within you is everything that is perfect, holy, and ready to radiate from your heart into the world. Change is coming, and more peace will enter into your heart. A new light is coming into the world. We are the light of the world. Now take a deep breath. Begin to bring your awareness back to this room. Become aware of your physical surroundings. Move or stretch as you need to. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Amen, Ashe, and so it is. Good morning. Today I'll be talking to you about inner peace and the benefits of cultivating it as a spiritual practice. I want to thank our worship associate, Elizabeth, for that amazing reflection about her own efforts to remain peaceful in the midst of some serious pain, and how in contrasting it with the pain that her brother-in-law went to, she was able to find a more peaceful way of managing 2 sprained feet. So I'm curious, when you hear the words inner peace, I wonder what comes to mind. Do you have the image of like a yogi sitting on a mountaintop, meditating, legs folded, eyes closed, looking down on the world? Or does an image come to you or thought of your own self, sitting at home on your own yoga mat, meditating? You may visualize yourself, when you think of peace, of being in your garden, working in the garden, walking through the park, or walking along a bank of water, sitting on a bench, and allowing nature to bathe you in its luxurious beauty. Perhaps you're with your family in the vision that you're holding, getting in the car, headed for a road trip, going to the airport, getting on a plane, and going to that place that calls to you and your family, that gives you so much peace and joy. Maybe being on a beach, and then returning from that escapade renewed and refreshed. And what about the artist? Those of us who enjoy hunkering down in front of our computers or sitting down at the table to write. Some may say that's not very peaceful, especially if you're a writer, because there's the agony and the ecstasy of it all. Writing through the fog and getting to that place of clarity that can be trying sometimes. Perhaps you're an artist who loves to go into your studio to paint or draw or sculpt, and feeling a sense of joy as it all starts coming together. In order to step into that space when you feel your juices flowing and something new being born, it may take a lot of time alone, hours, days, weeks, months. And some people who are working on large projects, it may take a year or more. But the point is, you are satisfying that need for creative expression while at the same time experiencing inner peace and joy in the midst of the flow. I know that there are a group of West Shore congregants who practice the art of Zentangle and the art of knitting, and they gather together in the park or on Zoom to work on their craft. They love working together. And in saying that, I'm just trying to paint the picture that we do not live in a one-size-fits-all world or society. And so it's really important for you to find out what fits you best when it comes to finding your own inner peace, or those activities that help to drive you to that place. Now, I find my peace when I'm doing spiritual work, when I'm working on a meditation, writing a sermon, wrestling with the words of a poem, and getting lost while I'm writing, and just being in what I call being in the zone. And if I spend a few hours there, I find I come away from it very peaceful, very centered, and often very inspired because something new does get born. So I invite you to consider what brings you the most peace of mind on a daily basis. Is it your meditation practice, your work in the garden, your walk in the park, your time by the water, the time you spend creating art or doing a craft? What is that for you? What feeds your spirit? What nourishes you? It may not be any of the above because what I've suggested is simply the tip of the iceberg. What about the peace that's derived from loving on your babies and connecting with your family and friends? Maybe you get a lot of peace from the work that you do and the benefits of being well paid or not. Regardless of what it is, the choices are vast and the paths you take to get there are varied. Our world is complex, and the social issues that we face leave us without any feelings of peace. We cannot leave it to the politicians to figure it out for us. We cannot leave it to the social activists to fight it out for us. And we cannot leave it to the next generation to force the old ways out. When it comes to inner peace, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Peace is an inside job, and nothing outside of us is going to manage the war within. I came to realize that peace is an inner job when I became aware that I was trying to find it by changing my life on the outside. I call this kind of strategy rearranging the furniture. Instead of facing my issues head on, I avoided them and swept things under the carpet and then put a nice piece of furniture on top of the pile to cover it up. One example of that in my life is something that still haunts me today. In 1975, I moved from Cleveland, Ohio to Los Angeles, California. At that time in my life, it was all about a man. So I took off with my boyfriend with a car full of belongings and a big motorcycle in tow and landed in the Sunshine State. I thought I had arrived. By 1978, I had moved at least 8 times. Some of those moves were he and I together, and some were just me, myself, and I, while I struggled to come to grips with the situation I was in. It was a horrible marriage, and I was a woman in distress without close friends or family to rely on. I got out of it, and a couple years later, I married someone else. By 1983, we were divorced, and that little pile under the carpet kept getting bigger and bigger. The way I saw it, they were the bad guys, and I was doing what I had to do to take care of myself. The only problem is, I didn't know how to do that. And as Dr. Phil might say, how's that working for you? It didn't work. Changing jobs, changing men, changing my address, none of it worked, other than to give me a few moments of peace until I realized that nothing on the inside had changed, and I had to start all over again. For me, there was no peace within. I was on a bumpy road, and I was attempting to solve problems from the outside in, and that had me on an emotional roller coaster that was constantly going up and down all the time. So the questions I asked myself were, why does peace seem to be so fleeting? Why can't I find a way to maintain it? And part of that was, I'm a spiritual person. I know about prayer. I know about centering. I know about being quiet. But there was no peace. As I began to reflect on these questions, it became apparent to me that there were aspects of myself that had not been addressed. Things I didn't want to look at. All of that stuff that I had swept under the carpet was now beginning to stink. There was no way that peace could reside in me. After a time, I came to realize that much of the unresolved pain from my past was disturbing my peace in the present. Just because I refused to look at the mess didn't mean it was going to go away. And it was then that I began to face my brokenness. At some point in time, some of you have been broken. It may be a heartache from an intimate relationship in your past or even in your present. It may be unresolved grief due to the loss of someone or something significant to you. All too often, we only recognize the big losses: death, jobs, relationships, etc. But there are a lot of tiny fractures that go unnoticed and, over time, leave us with a sense of brokenness. And speaking of a huge loss that we can all relate to, I think of President Biden. He almost lost his entire family to a tragic accident. He did lose his wife and daughter, but his 2 sons survived, only to have one of the sons succumb to cancer later in life. But I think President Biden understands that being broken does not mean it's the end of the road. It does not mean giving up on life and people. It does not mean the sun will never shine again. It simply means that we find another way to be in this world in spite of our brokenness. In my case, I had a lot of tiny fractures that I tried to sweep away. Eventually, when I admitted that I was broken, it was after being spiritually guided to do the inner work that I had been avoiding. One evening, while standing in my kitchen washing dishes, all of those tiny little fractures found their way from under that carpet where I had tried to bury them. For what seemed to be no apparent reason, I began to weep. And then I began crying, and then I began bawling until I was practically on my knees in the most severe emotional pain that I can ever recall. There were a series of significant losses that led up to that moment, none of which I had taken time to grieve. Within a 6-month period, I had lost whom I thought was the love of my life in a breakup that left me devastated. I was unexpectedly laid off from a really sweet job. And in the midst of those 2 heartaches, my father died. The only time I paused during that 6-month period is when I went home for a couple of weeks to help my mom with my father's funeral. Other than that, I swept my feelings under the carpet, tried to be strong for my mom, and did not shed a tear until 6 months later after my father died while standing at the kitchen sink. Unfortunately, our society encourages us to keep our brokenness locked away and out of sight. And as a result, I tried to do that. I would be hurting inside, but would put on a happy face. I don't know how much of that was protection for me or need to protect others from feeling pain, but that was how I dealt with it. Nevertheless, it became exhausting. However, once I began opening my heart to healing and seeing that all of those little fractures to my soul were the places that the light came in to help me to grow, I appreciated my brokenness and found my way home to wholeness. In time, I began to experience a lasting sense of peace. In Japan, there is an honored art tradition known as kintsugi. It is a practice of repairing broken pottery, using lacquer to seal the cracks, and then dusting those sealed places with gold, silver, or platinum. It is used often as a metaphor for your life to see the broken, difficult, or painful parts of you as radiating light, gold, and beauty. Not only is this piece of pottery made beautiful with fine elements that are used in kintsugi, but the thing that was broken is even more beautiful because of how it was repaired. When your broken pieces become too much to ignore, you won't have any peace. But when you recognize that they are like a map to your heart that reveals truth, they become gold when you do the inner work to see how your experiences have helped you to grow. As a practice of self-love and forgiveness, the art of kintsugi is a reminder that the most beautiful, meaningful parts of yourself are the ones that have been broken and that have mended and healed. Cherish those broken places. Being kind and not holding grudges is a key ingredient to inner peace. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. In the journey of life, the practice never ends. We are always growing and evolving, and there's always more for us to understand. Be willing to approach life with an open and honest heart to experience even more peace and love towards yourself and others. And I continue to mention yourself because self-love is so important, and self-compassion. We tend to be quick to give it to others, and we tend to forget ourselves. We are forever changed by our pain and our struggles. Like the broken pottery that is sought after by many, our beauty is in our brokenness. When we can see what life experiences have to teach us, we can see the beauty they bring to our lives. In essence, if you could see your heart, you would see that there are golden cracks all over it. Some run deep, some are still being sealed, and there may be many more still to come. In cultivating inner peace, you come to realize that your broken places make you stronger and better, just like the art of kintsugi transforms a broken piece of pottery into a masterpiece. When I crave peace, I say the following loving kindness meditation. By repeating these words slowly and steadily. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. May we be well. May we be safe. May we be peaceful and at ease. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be safe. May they be peaceful and at ease. So these words do give me peace. And spending time in the quiet gives me peace. And listening to certain frames of music gives me peace. And you can always count on your breath when you are not feeling peace. Your breath is always with you, and by slowing it down and breathing in through your nose while counting to 4 and out through your mouth while counting to 8, you will feel some relief. If you are in a situation that is stressful, try holding a visual of a place that gives you peace. It may be the ocean, it may be your bedroom, it may be a time when you're playing with your pets, it may be being with loved ones. Holding that image will steady your heartbeat so that your endurance is strong and steady. Many of us spend a lot of time rehashing things from the past, and that creates tension and sadness. Try rewriting your story in such a way that you can see the beauty and the blessing and how it helped you to be a better person. And I said blessing, not lesson. In an effort to be the peace you wish to see, it doesn't matter how big of a splash you make. It is about simply making a splash. And if you can't make a splash, just leave a few drops along the way. Do your best to discover peace within yourself. And as you do so, you will make a difference. I believe that from the cultivation of inner peace, one naturally evolves to express what is inside to the outside world. I am inspired by the work of Peace Pilgrim, who demonstrated how one person can truly impact and change the world by their commitment to a worthy cause. She understood that any act of peace, whether it be known by others or not, is of value. Therefore, she encouraged people to be the peace wherever they were in their lives, and to do whatever they could to spread it out into the world. She advocated that inner peace did not mean that you were to use it to escape from the world, but you are to utilize that energy to work in the world. Peace Pilgrim lived from 1908 to 1981. She walked continuously across the United States over a 27-year period to deliver a message of peace. Born Mildred Norman Ryder on a small farm in New Jersey, her family had no religious affiliation. Around the age of 30, she began questioning a life built around earning money and acquiring worldly possessions. She began to see her life as self-centered and meaningless. One night, in desperation, and out of a very deep seeking for a meaningful way of life, she walked at night in the woods. Coming to a moonlit glade, she prayed and began to feel a complete willingness to dedicate her life to service. A deep peace came over her, and from that point, she began to radically simplify her life, giving away unnecessary possessions and dropping useless activities, and began what was to become a 15-year period of preparation. While not knowing exactly what she was preparing for, she did volunteer work for peace groups and worked with people with physical, mental, and emotional problems. The inspiration for her true work, her pilgrimage for peace, came in 1952. From 1953 to 1961, this silver-haired woman, calling herself only Peace Pilgrim, walked more than 25,000 miles for peace, vowing to remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace, walking until given shelter and fasting until given food. In her pockets, she carried her only worldly possessions: a comb, a folding toothbrush, a pen, copies of her message, and the latest correspondence she received. Her simple message: this is the way of peace. Overcome evil with good, and falsehood with truth, and hatred with love. This message touched the hearts, minds, and lives of thousands of individuals all across North America. I now invite you to join me in viewing a short video of Peace Pilgrim speaking about her life.
The real turning point in my life came 15 years prior to that, about 43 years ago, when I came out of my empty life of money and things and began to live to give instead of to get. Oh, it was just the most wonderful change in my life. My life just blossomed out. I remember 3 things happened. I attained the great blessing of good health. You know, I haven't had an ache or a pain or a cold or a headache since. I knew my life work was going to be work for peace. Not only the outer peace, but the inner peace, which I talk about the most, because that's where peace begins. It's very good to know what your life work is, because then you can get busy on it. And the third thing, long after I had finished the physical growing up and I had finished the mental growing up, I had enough knowledge to get along. I could make my own decisions. And I had finished the emotional growing up. I could get along with people and with myself. I began the spiritual growing up, which takes you from the self-centered life into the life where you see yourself in proper perspective as part of the whole and work for the good of the whole. It was doing that growing and finding inner peace that prepared me for the pilgrimage that I walk today. And when I started out, my hair had turned to silver. My friends thought I had taken leave of my senses. But I walk on that endless energy that comes with inner peace. It never runs out.
Continuing on this path to inner peace and self-care, I discovered that when I changed my inner dialogue and became more open to the divine, my outer circumstances changed gradually and naturally. I began to find some direction in life and no longer had a need to hide or run away from my problems. The peace that had long eluded me became more and more accessible, and I was able to enjoy it for longer periods of time. On a very basic level, I derive peace from paying my bills on time, eating balanced meals, doing spiritual practices and exercises consistently, keeping my house in order, honoring my word, not overextending, and taking time to stop and smell the roses. And like anyone else, some of that gets out of balance sometime. I have to pull myself back to center. Choosing self-care and self-compassion and maintaining a sense of peace is important. And our language can make a big difference in soothing the savage beast or make it more irritable. So, when I find myself on the ledge, I talk to myself in the third person, which activates the care circuit in my brain. I might say something like, "Shirley, you're going to be okay. This is really a hard moment, but don't forget, Shirley, you're not alone in this." So, by asking yourself, what do I need to do right now when you find yourself in stressful situations? This question reminds you to lean on actions that give you peace. What do I need to do right now? One of the things that helps is to keep a joy list. Those activities that put a pep in your step and bring joy to your heart. It could be rearranging flowers, baking, watching a beautiful sunset or sunrise. By having that list, you can look at it and remind yourself of moments of joy. If you are not able to act on anything on your list, just savor the joy of anticipation and doing them at a later time. One of the most common ways to access that spirit of peace and joy within you is to practice gratitude. A dose of gratitude in the morning, gratitude at noontime, and gratitude in the midnight hour can go a long, long way. Being grateful is a direct line to accessing that state of inner peace and it can be done anytime, anywhere, and practiced silently or noisily. Imagine sitting in bed, writing in your gratitude journal, and drifting off to sleep with a smile on your face. That's one great way of locking in the beauty of the day and sending you off to a good start for the following day. Maintaining inner peace may just be a step in the right direction towards that which nourishes your soul and grounds you spiritually. Author Melody Beattie says, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Who could ask for more? Amen. And now David Blazer will lead us in our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night.
Now bring your chalice close to extinguish it as I extinguish the chalice here. We extinguish our flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
Remember, coffee hour, which starts at 11:30. I will see you at the sermon chat at 12:30 on Zoom. And now the benediction. I invite you to remember to be grateful for it all. You never know what's going to be a blessing. So hold it all. Begin your gratitude journal and make your joy list. Don't even leave your seat today without making a joy list. List 3 things that bring you joy. And as you go into your week, just hold it all so gently, so close, so lovingly. And so it is. And may it be so. Love and courage and cheer to all. Amen.